Good evening, everyone, from Cyclone Stadium, where it is truly windy tonight. And it's so windy that it could almost knock a small animal like me down, Coach. I mean, it's really that bad. But you guys are up and running. You're not afraid to win, are you? In fact, this is a regular season finale for both teams, Cyclones and Liberty, into tonight's game.
I think it'll be quick, up and down. They like to push the pace a little bit, so we're going to have to match that and try to cover that up when we can and try to take advantage of when we can get down and go.
All right, so we were looking at the results. We didn't find that Eastern View and Liberty had played this year. So this is the only match you'll play them during the regular season?
Yeah, the only time we'll play them. Got moved from last week, so we'll end up here and then do playoffs on Thursday.
All right, turn you over to Jeff.
Coach, last week we saw you play in JM. Your guys' zone defense did not seem to work out too well against them. Is that something that you are looking to adjust, or is that you're going to live and die by the zone?
No, we looked at it for a little bit, and it was something that we kind of tried out, and once it wasn't working, we went away from it. Had a really productive game against Meridian, not by the score. They're a really good team, had a lot of good numbers, but a lot that we could kind of take away from that with our man defense, and we'll just go from there. We're cycling some other guys through. I mean, we're down to 14 total. Just a lot of stuff, nothing bad, just crazy. It's Murphy's Law, like I said last time, everything going wrong. So we'll just go from there and get everybody out there.
Offensively, what is the game plan now?
Really just kind of get the ball to our shooters. Biggest thing we can, try to get Donovan Elliott involved up top. Connor Weeks behind the goal. Get some playmakers involved. Austin Tingler, get him involved the best we can, and we'll just go from there.
So Austin Tingler, somebody we haven't heard a lot from. We've seen him down in front of the goal. Is that kind of the goal, is to get the ball back to Connor Weeks in an exposition and have him find the guys down in front of the net?
Yeah, I mean, anytime we can get those guys like Connor and Donovan assisting Austin, Josh, Haught, any of those guys, everybody's being productive. The more you can get those guys involved, the better. Because Connor and Donovan, I mean, they're going to get their shots off, they're going to get their numbers. But if we can get everybody else involved too, that's going to always benefit us.
So we always hear it. You feel the wind here at Cyclone Stadium. How does the wind going to impact you guys tonight? It's gusting quite a bit.
Little communication stuff. A lot of our stuff is based off sets anyway, so that'll be a plus for us. Communication on defense got to be loud and it's got to be there. So we'll just be yelling through it.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Coach, good luck tonight. Thanks for joining us in our pregame. Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Well, Jeff said this is a season finale, regular season finale for both teams, Liberty Eagles and, of course, the Cyclones. And then the playoffs would start likely this Thursday, and that's going to be a one-and-done situation. So if there's anything else you think you can fine-tune or tweak before the playoffs, obviously tonight's the night to do that.
It is, and Liberty is looking to be the fourth-ranked team in the Northwest region. We know that Fauquier is likely to be number one. They defeated Brentsville District 14-12 last week. So Brentsville's number two. Meridian, which Coach Frazier mentioned, they're number three. Liberty, with a win tonight, is going to solidify number four. So you know you've got a top-ranked team, to one of the top four teams in the region. Now's the time to work on your defense, to work on those offensive sets, and try to get into a rhythm going into the playoffs.
Well said, Jeff. Looking forward to calling the game with you tonight, live here on the Culper Media Network. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have team captains for the initial face-off to start tonight's game between the visiting Eagles of Liberty and your host Cyclones of Eastern View. Stay tuned. You're watching Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
from a very windy Cyclone Stadium. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of high school boys varsity lacrosse. And this is the regular season finale between these two teams, Eastern View and the visiting Liberty Eagles of Bealton. I'm Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say, and of course Johnny Krawchuk, the man behind the camera, Nicole Wooten on top of things back in the studio, the Culper Media Network. So welcome aboard, Jeff. You know, it's interesting because we've had this conversation before, but it's been kind of a strange season in the sense of how we all got here. It sort of, in one sense, seems like a blur. Been quite a few cancellations. And then the next thing you know, both these two teams are playing their last regular season game.
And it's been a bipolar weather season, that's for sure, in terms of it's been cold, it's been hot, it's been rainy, and now tonight we have a windstorm. It is apropos that we are at Cyclone Stadium this evening, Mark, because the wind is picking up something fierce, and I expect that to play a role in tonight's game.
Well, so we know that this is the last game for both teams in this regular season, and Liberty probably going to be a fourth seed in the postseason district or conference tournament, whatever they call it at this point. But you know, it is going to be a single elimination, so you win and move on, or you lose and you call it a season. I don't think Eastern View's seeding in the district tournament would be affected by the outcome of tonight's game.
It's simply a confidence booster coming out of tonight's game, how they play against Liberty. They had a losing effort against Meridian late last week, but that they took some positives out of that, head coach Chris Frazier said. So what they're looking to do tonight is to play Liberty tough, to try to stay with them and build some confidence heading into the playoffs.
All right, here's our opening face-off to get things going tonight. For Liberty, it's Will Beach, and for Eastern View, it's Nolan Natale. And Natale wins this first face-off, and of course, we talk about how critical that is to dominate from that position. Natale goes through a little bit of traffic there before he slows it down for the Cyclones to sit up here on offense.
And he's looking for Connor Weeks. We talked about Connor being in that X position, that the offense is going to go through him. And we talked about Donovan Elliott trying to get him the ball, and then getting the ball down to Austin Tingler and Joshua Hott, as they are going to be kind of the focus tonight to try to get a one-on-one against Liberty's goalie, Lasher.
Right, Brennan Lasher. So it's going to be interesting to see how Eastern View sets up their offense, how they're able to get things moving, and what role the wind plays offensively for the Cyclones. And these two teams were scheduled to play earlier in the season, did not. So tonight's game between these two teams is the only regular season matchup between them. And here's a turnover, or at least, nope, it looked like a turnover, but Cyclones keep possession. Over here to Connor Weeks is number 3, and of course we call his name a lot. The offense oftentimes does start with Weeks. And you mentioned that Chris Frazier wanted to get a couple other players in the offensive mix tonight. Jeff, Austin Tingler, and Joshua Hott. On the move and taking a shot. This one was short of the mark. And Cyclones will keep it. Your thoughts about Tingler and Hott?
Well, one of the things that Eastern View is doing right now is that they're holding possession of the ball, and that's exactly what Chris Frazier wanted to do. They wanted to take the ball away from Liberty and not let them use their speed.
And here is Donovan Elliott on the move and taking a shot there in fluid motion, and the second shot on goal tonight finds that net. 1-0 in favor of the Cyclones, Jeff, early on in this first quarter.
And we mentioned that Donovan Elliott was the other player that they wanted that offense to go through. They wanted to have Connor in that X position, but then they wanted to get it out to the wing to Donovan Elliott, and Donovan Elliott showing what he can do right there, be able to rush in, be able to kind of get a one-on-one with Lasher and be able to beat him with a nice shot for that 1-0 lead with 10:06 remaining here in the first quarter.
And back to the face-off following the goal, and this time Liberty comes away with it, and we'll see Liberty on offense for the first time here in this first quarter. Substitution on the fly for the Eagles out of Bealton, Virginia. On the move, and there looked like the player there for Liberty, number 12, Tyler Dyson, had a open teammate, but he was unable to get the ball to him, so they have to reset here.
Well, after the JM game last week we saw the Cyclones play, they've made a defensive adjustment. In that JM game, they were mostly zone. Now they're going back to the man-on-man, which I feel that they're stronger at. I wasn't impressed with the zone defense against JM. So looking to see how that they're able to rally here tonight. And there's going to be a lot of communication issues with how windy it is. So Matt Greenfield's going to have to be bossy and let his teammates know where they are and how to get him the ball back so he can make some of those patented clears.
Yeah, Liberty just took its first shot on goal, but was well wide of the mark. And Eastern View was closest to it, and will inbound it here, and the Eastern View Cyclones will come back the other way, leading 1-0 here early in the first 3 minutes of this first quarter. We have a turnover. Here comes Liberty on the attack. And then backpedaling out of there is Taylor Schaefer, whose shot is saved by Matt Greenfield.
I wasn't sure if that was a shot or a pass, or if it was a shot, it was ill-conceived and he didn't get much on it, but Greenfield doing a good job of being able to scoop that one out there and get it going again offensively for the Cyclones.
Donovan Elliott trying to get it to a player on the perimeter out there, and a little off the mark, goes out of bounds, and they change of possession over to the Liberty Eagles. Here in this first quarter, 1-0 our score in favor of the Eagles. We are live tonight. You know who our live sponsor is. It's Able Heating and Air. Answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Any observations so far, Jeff, as a Liberty unleashes another shot, and Greenfield was able to deflect that one away from goal for his second save of the night.
Well, Greenfield once again doing a great job in goal, and it's interesting to me to see Eastern View go back to that man-to-man because that has worked so well for them. Liberty comes into tonight's game with a 7-4 record, 2-3 in the Northwestern region. As you mentioned, they're seated 4th in the region right now going into the playoff season. They last beat Hadley last week, 11-10.
Tyler Dyson a moment ago had the shot on goal. You're turned away by Greenfield. Liberty, Eastern View rather comes back with it, and they get there in close range and turn back for some reason, Jeff. It was number 15, Joshua Halt, that had the shot on goal. Didn't count. They come back this way with Liberty back on the attack here, and this one works. Sidearm shot taken close range. Looks like it's let's check it out. It's number 1 for Liberty, and I've got him as Nathan Villarreal. That'll tie it up 1-1. Let's check the clock on that one.
7:01, and man, that is a momentum shift because Eastern View thought they had scored. I thought Eastern View had scored on Joshua Hot shot that was going to make it 2-0, but instead it was waved off, and Nathan Villarreal comes down and he's able to score quickly. And we see that Liberty is able to use that fast break, and that's one thing that Eastern View's wanted to do. They want to be able to slow the Eagles down, and instead of being up 2-0, the game is now tied 1-1.
Jalen Tanner comes away with for the Cyclones, and he dishes it off to Connor Weeks, who will set this offense. We know this broadcast brought to you in part by Fountain Sons, more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Fountain Sons, 825-3530. Still in the first quarter here at Cyclone Stadium. We talked about how windy it is here. And here's a shot taken by Connor Weeks that Brendan Lasher was able to get a stick on and keep it out of the way of that goal for a save, but Cyclones keep possession.
And Mark, we're under a thunderstorm watch here in Culpeper County until 9 p.m. So I've been watching the radar and keeping an eye on it, but it looks like, it's beautiful weather right now. It's sunny, it's warm, it's in the 80s, a little bit humid, but that wind is just wicked.
It really is. I told Scott, the public address announcer, I said, if you hear our door slam, it's not out of anger. It's purely the wind.
And it's coming in gusts, Mark. I mean, that's the thing is that, 1 minute it'll be nice and calm, and a couple seconds later you see the flags just take off and straighten right out.
On the move here into the double team, spinning out of it and trying to get a little clearance there. It was Donovan Elliott. Eventually turned it over, at least for the moment, as the two teams vie for it. Lasher, the goalie, finally gets it. As long as he stays in that crease, he's safe. His downfield outlet pass is complete to his teammate. Liberty substituting on the fly here. A couple different players in as they slow it down and look to resume the attack.
We see why Liberty is so potent, because they're really quick. I mean, they've got a lot of speed on this team.
Well, Liberty, here's a shot. That was wide. Greenfield was ready for it. Liberty, closest man to it, they'll keep it. As you pointed out, some wind gusts here, definitely in Cyclone Stadium. Winding up, cranking one was number 12, Tyler Dyson, and he's had 2 or 3 shots on goal now. This one was off the mark, but they're putting some pressure now on that Cyclone goal.
And this is when the Cyclones defense is going to have to step up and make some plays. And this is when the wind comes into play, not in terms of the trajectory of the ball, Mark, but on how the defense is able to communicate.
There was a nice catch on a pass to Owen Rogers, who corralled it, and then he was able to zing one past Greenfield for another Liberty score. Owen Rogers, number 2. And as Jeff tallies this one up, we'll tell you this broadcast is brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673, Jeff.
Well, I thought Owen Rogers was going to lose that ball. The pass was, we mentioned the wind and the trajectory of the ball being affected, and that ball took off, but Rogers was able to make a play on it and then quickly spin and get a shot off and to beat Matt Greenfield. Greenfield's been really steady here this season, and especially here early on tonight. So a big goal for Liberty to take the 2-1 lead with 4:35 remaining in the first quarter.
Sure is. Well, and this broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints, from shirts to banners and everything in between. Imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473. Again, we are live tonight, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air. I'm Mark O'Connell, along with Jeff Say, Johnny Krawchuk, Nicole Wooten back in the studio of the Culpeper Media Network. Liberty a 2-1 advantage, and they're on the offensive attack again. And this was a nice pass down low where the player there got one-on-one with Greenfield, unable to score, was Nathan Villarreal for Liberty.
Not often do you see that go in favor of the goalie, but Greenfield did a great job of making Villarreal fake it out, and then when he did take the shot, it was off the mark.
Well said. No, Greenfield facing some pressure here in this first quarter. 2-1 our score in favor of the Eagles. So what about those Fauquier County teams, Jeff? You've got Fauquier Falcons, you've got the Kettle Run Cougars, you've got Liberty Eagles, and then over in Prince William, you've got Brentsville District, and they were really sort of maybe the top team in the district until, well, they may still be, but they played Fauquier, what was it, last week?
It was last Thursday, so we've seen Fauquier this season, and we were really impressed with how Fauquier played. We have yet to see Brentsville District, but we were told that Brentsville District was maybe a little bit better than Fauquier. It was going to depend on the given day. And Fauquier last Thursday, that was their given day, because they won 14-12 in what seems like an absolute barn burner of a game.
Must have been a heck of a game, and of course, there's a chance those two teams will meet in the postseason.
Fauquier right now sits as the number 1 seed. Brentsville District's the number 2 seed. Meridian 3, and Liberty here tonight, looking to solidify the number 4 seed.
And, you know, for the people in the viewing audience who are still trying to get acclimated with the name Meridian, that is because Meridian is formerly George Mason out of Falls Church, Virginia, after the name change. And, you know, George Mason has had, and now Meridian, I mean, they just, if you've ever been to that school and looked at their Hall of Fame, so to speak, or checked the VHSL record books, George Mason's won a lot of different championships, Jeff, in a lot of different sports.
And a lot of different classifications as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved up over the years. I mean, I remember at one point in time they were Class A, and now they're AAA. They've grown.
Donovan Elliott was the player from the Cyclones who lost it. Liberty comes back this way, trying to keep it. Let's check the clock because we got to be winding down to the last couple of minutes of this first quarter.
Minute 40 remaining, and the clock running, and there's some possession issues for Liberty. Really nice play by Eastern View's defense. They're doing a great job here tonight compared to what we saw them against JM. I think switching to that man defense has really helped their confidence.
Here's Liberty substituting again on the fly and making some adjustments. It looks like we're going to have a timeout called by Eastern View. Well, I mentioned that we are live tonight, and our live sponsor, of course, is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they're able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Well, Jeff, when we were last on the air, that was last week, was it not, with Eastern View and JM? And you and I had remarked several times during the broadcast that except for those uniforms JM was wearing, they just didn't seem like the same team. They were a better team than what we saw against Culpeper.
Yeah, JM really came out and took it to Eastern View, and as I mentioned, Eastern View was in that zone defense. They're back in the man tonight after they tried it out and didn't work too well against JM. But JM looked like a completely different team. They had a couple players that stepped up and just absolutely dominated against the Cyclones.
And so with this being the last game of the regular season and the playoffs starting likely Thursday, you got to figure Eastern View will obviously have a road game somewhere.
Yeah, Eastern View, I think, is the lowest seeded team in the district. They currently sit at 1 win. Culpeper has 4 wins. So I expect the Cyclones and the Blue Devils both marked to be on the road.
On the road. And you win or you go home, right?
And that's it. I mean, it's playoff time. It's as you like to call it, sudden victory. Yeah. So once you either win and you move on, or you lose and you go home. It's like the playoff. It's like the hockey playoffs, where both Johnny's Capitals and my Penguins have since been eliminated.
And listening to you talk, it made me think of the past when we used to watch ABC's Wide World of Sports, and they would say the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Yeah.
Sure, it's very fitting when it comes to the end of the sports season.
Well, it's like it's never really a good time to lose, is it? I mean, in the postseason.
Well, in the postseason, I mean, when you lose, you're done. I mean,
yeah.
During the regular season, there's another game, and it's a series of roller coasters. It's up, you're down, and you've got to be able to just learn to build on that. But once you get in the playoffs, it's everything that you've learned during that regular season that you have to apply in one game.
Yeah, and whether you're talking about an individual sport or a team sport, sometimes a loss during the regular season can be a learning experience and a building block for you.
Absolutely. But then once you get into the playoffs, you don't have that luxury.
Exactly. Late here in the first quarter, 2-1 our score. Liberty coming around on the wraparound, trying to take a shot, knocked to the turf. Connor Weeks coming up field is Liberty. Let's check the clock, Jeff.
About 25 seconds remaining. Lasher didn't see that last shot by Weeks. One of his defenders knocked it down, and Liberty was unable to come up with it. But now the Eagles are on the move.
They sure are. They're going to try to unwind and unleash another shot, and they successfully do so and score past Greenfield here late in this first quarter. And it is by Liberty's number 5? Corbin Barb.
Yeah, Corbin Barb.
Well, that's a goal that really hurts a team psychologically, don't you think? When you're that late in the quarter, it's 2-1. Rather than going to the second quarter 2-1, now it's 3-1.
Well, head coach Chris Frazier said this Liberty Eagles team likes to run, and we can see why. And once they get on that fast break, they're able to really get that numbers game working for them. And that time, Corbin Barb was able to get the ball and quickly move down the field, and he used his speed to create some disadvantages there for Eastern View.
And if you're Eastern View taking a shot with Brennan Lasher making the save, and that's how that first quarter is going to end. Eastern View took a shot. Lasher made the save, but Lasher and his teammates up 3-1 at the end of the first quarter. So we'll take a break and come back for the second quarter right after this. Stay tuned. You're watching Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors:
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
Welcome back to our broadcast and to the start of the second quarter here at Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View High School. With our score, the Eagles of Liberty have built in 3, the Cyclones 1. Mark O'Connell, Jeff Say, Johnny Krawchuk with you tonight from Cyclone Stadium. Jeff, can you recap the scoring for our viewing audience from that first quarter?
So Eastern View took the early lead on a Donovan Elliott goal, 1-0. They thought they had a second, and then Joshua Hodge's goal was called off. That led to Liberty's first goal. Nathan Villarreal scored to make it 1-1, and then the Eagles added 2 more as number 2, Owen Rogers scored, and Corbin Barb scored, and that is the score coming into the second quarter, 3-1 in favor of the Liberty Eagles.
And I think that third goal may have been a little disheartening there, Jeff, because it came so late in the quarter, where it came off a missed Eastern View shot on goal. And coming out to start the second quarter on the run and taking a shot is number 5, Corbin Barb. So is he picking up where he left off to end the second quarter?
So Corbin Barb scored with just 10 seconds remaining in the second quarter. That's that goal you're talking about that can be demoralizing because it happened so quickly. And again, we talk about how quickly the Liberty Eagles can fly down the field, and we see it right there. Really nice play by Austin Keller on defense to start that off. He gets the ball off the face-off, and then he's able to get the ball over to Connor Barb, and Barb getting his second goal here within the span of 30 seconds.
Well, you know, I think I understand the concept better in basketball if we're looking at slowing down an explosive offense. But here in lacrosse, I mean, if you know, Chris Frazier knows that Liberty wants to run, they got some speed, they really want to take it to the house, so to speak. But so defensively, what sort of things can you do to slow them down? Can you become more physical, or can you change your defensive alignment? Can you substitute more? I mean, what are some of the options?
So I think that you mentioned it there, being physical, be able to poke check them, trying to take the ball away, try to win those face-offs, try to get the ball before they do, and then play keep away on offense. We saw that early on in that first quarter that Eastern View had the ball for about 3 or 4 minutes there offensively, just being able to pass it around, keep it moving, and that's what they need to do. They need to keep the ball out of the sticks of the Liberty Eagles.
Right, so then really, and we say the same things in other sports, for example. Maybe your best defense is your offense if you can hold on to the ball and kill some time, keep the other team's offense out of the mix. But you got to do that. You got to win the face-offs, and then you got to put together some good passing and ball control and that sort of thing.
You've got to possess the ball. You can't have turnovers.
Right. Liberty here in the second quarter, Jeff, has that goal from Corbin Barb, and they're still pressing the action here. On the move here and taking a shot left-handed. This one looked like it was saved by Greenfield. I didn't know if one of those defenders had first deflected it or not. But
no, it looked like it was just a nice play by Greenfield. He watched that one coming in the whole way and was able to, it was kind of a one-on-one situation. He was able to watch it in.
The Eastern View coming back this way, trying to get in position to unleash a shot at a player, and a lot of heavy traffic there. I'd have to backpedal out of there. And coming on the perimeter to slow it down some, and then we got a turnover with the steal. Here comes Liberty. Talk about how they like to run, but it's like and now they're going to slow it down and reset their offense.
and they're getting the right players on the field. We saw Barb coming in right there, and he fires a shot that's saved by Greenfield.
Yeah.
But it really seems like that's part of the offensive plan, is to wait for Barb to get on the field and then get him the ball.
Well, Barb set up and cranked that one. You got. If you're Barb, you got to be playing with some confidence right now.
Absolutely. You have the 2 goals here in the span of 30 seconds at the end of the first and beginning of the second. So you want that ball in your possession.
Absolutely. Well, we are live tonight, and our live sponsor, of course, is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Here in the second quarter, we at 4-1, Jeff?
4-1 right now. And I was just about to mention that that's one thing we need Eastern View to do, Mark, and that's to be strong on the forecheck. And they were, but now they're coming back with it. And in Liberty, we've seen they've been able to force some turnovers here early on as well.
In the games we've seen this year, of course, we've seen, we cover Eastern View and Culpeper. We got our first penalty flag thrown in the game just a moment ago. And this is going to be against Liberty, so they're going to let Eastern View play its offensive sequence out here. If they're turned back or there's a turnover, they'll stop it and assess that penalty. Jeff, who do you think the most physical team we've seen this year is?
Well, Culpeper's been pretty physical. I've been impressed with them defensively.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned that, but also Fauquier. Fauquier had some big hits against Culpeper in that game up at Fauquier Stadium. And Faukier's the best team that we've seen this year, all around.
And we had learned that Brentsville District may be the best team in the district when those 2 teams played. It was 14-12 Fauquier, and as we mentioned, it would have been a great game for anyone who likes lacrosse to have watched, or anyone who likes a competitive game in any sport. That would have been the game to see. And they're probably going to play each other in the postseason for sure. Well, they haven't assessed the penalty flag yet.
Where's the flag at?
I mean, they dropped the flag.
They
haven't
dropped the
assessed
flag.
the penalty yet.
I have not even seen. I don't even see the flag on the field.
Maybe they waved it off because they don't usually allow this much time to elapse, do they? Winding up from long distance, taking a shot. We got the save by Lasher, and I believe
here comes the penalty.
Well, there it is. There. Okay. Now the guy who took the shot, wasn't that Donovan Elliott? It looks like number 7. Yeah.
Yep.
Elliott took the shot.
And it looks like that penalty, as you mentioned, is going to be against Liberty, but they didn't call the penalty because it was delayed penalty. And Eastern View, once again, doing a good job of possessing the ball, Mark, not turning it over at the same time. Then that doesn't start your the power play yet.
And the player in the penalty box is a name who's the player with a name somewhat familiar already, and it's Owen Rogers, because we've called that name a few times already here in this one. And now a man-up situation. Power play for Eastern View, as Liberty would hope to beat the penalty clock, get back to full strength. And I don't think this is a non-releasable penalty, Jeff. Did you see a sign for that?
I did not, no.
Yeah. There was a little shot that was wide, taken by Eastern View. Cyclones in possession, at least for the moment, until they turn it over. Here's an opportunity for Liberty to get the ball back and try to work that penalty clock down to 0 so they can get Owen Rogers back in the game. Rogers getting set now to come back in. And he is in, and so the Eagles, Jeff, they beat the penalty clock and they turn back the Cyclone advantage.
And Eastern View not really showing a lot of rush in that one, Mark, trying to get it back before Rogers got back on the field. They seemed to be perfectly content to set up their play, and they talked about having those sets, so when they be able to get the offense set up correctly, it's more important than trying to get that power play goal.
Right. And can you hear the wind howl? You can feel it. You can hear it here at Cyclone Stadium. Doesn't seem to be bothering the Eagles too much.
No, but you certainly can feel the wind, as Dave Richardson would say from the press box here at Cyclone Stadium.
I think he commands that you feel. Connor Weeks. Was that Connor Weeks? No, it was another player. We had a player who took a shot, fell down as he took it, and then he was sort of limping back into position. That was actually Aiden Stein's defender. Now Liberty can set up on offense. Winding up and taking a shot was Nathan Villarreal. Matt Greenfield makes a stop for the Cyclones, and he looks to his teammate Jalen Tanner out here, and Tanner has it. Now he's going to get it up the field to Donovan Elliott, and here is Elliott. Watch out, you got a player coming in from behind for Liberty. That's number 15, Austin Keller, and I think Elliott may have heard those footsteps and was ready for that, and so they slow it down, and they'll start it now with Connor Weeks here in that center position, or center of the field rather. And Jeff, let's check the clock once more.
About 4:32 remaining and the clock ticking here in the second quarter. And the Cyclones working to set up that offense. Connor Weeks hanging on to it, waiting for everybody to get in position. They're probably looking for a cutter mark, for somebody to go towards the net to draw away the defense and open up a lane for Connor Weeks.
On the move, taking a shot in traffic, no problem. And now another shot that Lasher corrals for the save for Liberty. But Eastern View keeps it. Eastern View, this one looked like it hit the post, caromed out of there to the sidelines, and Eastern View comes away with it.
That was a nice angle there by Austin Tingler, coming in to the far right. Had a good look at it. As you said, it just went off the post. You got to keep throwing shots like that at the goal.
Well, here's a player for Eastern View getting awfully close there. Was that Hawk? It was, wasn't it? 15?
That's number 18. That's
number 18.
Tyler Helmick.
He got close and in range against Lasher, turned back, but he had beaten the defense, and that was just a nice play by Lasher to turn him back and get that save.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Lasher, and wow, Liberty's doing a really nice job of skirting the issue there, trying not to go out of bounds, but it sounds like, looks like number 15, that was Austin Keller, was not able to tiptoe there along the line, and the ball is back in possession of the Cyclones.
And here come the Cyclones, at least for the moment. This broadcast brought to you in part by Fountain Sons, which is more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Fountain Sons at 825-3530. Liberty coming back the other way, short range, and Greenfield makes the stop for the Cyclones.
And that was Villarreal getting one-on-one against Greenfield, and that's the second time tonight that Greenfield has had a one-on-one breakaway situation against an Eagle, and he's stopped them.
So really, Jeff, our score at the end of the first quarter was 3-1, if my memory serves me correctly, and we only had one goal so far in the second quarter.
So far, that was Corbin Barb. Only goal here tonight for the Cyclones by Donovan Elliott.
Liberty keeps it. Thinking about a shot down low in traffic. And the ball is loose, and Greenfield is able to corral it there in the crease where he's safe. He can wait for a player to get open, looking for his outlet. Cyclones coming back the other way. There in that X area, changing direction. Now coming around goal for a wraparound shot. That was Connor Weeks. This was high of the mark. Cyclones keep it. Lasher, nice save. Caught that one well above his head.
Nice offensive series right there by the Cyclones. Weeks did a great job of creating some space and be able to get off that shot. Hott was able to corral the rebound and then able to get it back out for another shot. But man, Lasher doing a really great job of making a big save.
And this broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673. Also, cash imprints from shirts to banners and everything in between. Imprint your message on the community with cash imprints. 317-1473. And as we check the time, Jeff, what do we have up there? if I can try to zero in on it with these, a minute 26?
Minute 26 to go here in the first half.
Well, I hate to sound corny, but where did the quarter go, Jeff?
We really have been moving pretty quickly. I think we've only had that one penalty,
Right.
only 5 goals, so it's been a defensive struggle here, and we tend to see those defensive struggles go a little bit more quickly.
Well, I was a little bit concerned about the Cyclones when they gave that goal late in the second quarter to make it 3-1. But they're here in the second quarter, even though Barb scored quickly for Liberty to give them a 4-1 advantage, both teams have been silent since then as far as the offensive fireworks are concerned.
A tip of the hat to the Cyclones defense, playing man-to-man defense, completely different defensive style than they played against JM, and I feel like they're much more effective playing the man-to-man.
We have a whistle and a turnover to Eastern View. Really has been a fast game, as Jeff pointed out. Really one penalty. That was against Liberty's Owen Rogers on a 1-minute releasable penalty, and his teammates were able to beat the penalty clock. They went back to full strength, and again, only 1 goal scored here in the second quarter, and that was by Corbin Barb of Liberty. Liberty.
Liberty Bibbity.
Nice weather here tonight, as you mentioned, in the forecast, the threat of thunderstorms, but right now it looks really good here at Cyclone Stadium.
Beautiful, sunny and warm, a little bit breezy.
On the wraparound, a little short goal shot taken that was no good, and the two teams will now vie for possession. So you've been impressed with the play of Greenfield here tonight again?
Absolutely. I think Greenfield is all region, at least second team, maybe first team. He has played extremely well. He's given up a few goals here and there, but that can be on your defense as well. I've just been really impressed with his play and how he's been able to manage the defense, and those outlet passes have been really impressive.
Ben, you just saw a moment ago one of the Eastern View players heave it from well downfield, and he was right on line to the goalie. That could have been a goal even if Lasher hadn't saved it. It was an easy save, but it's easy to make a mistake too. And that would have counted.
That would have, and that was the end of the first half.
Exactly. With our score, Liberty 4, Eastern View 1. We'll take a break and come back for the third quarter right after this. You're watching Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
All right, starting the third quarter here at Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View High School. As we start this third segment, Eagles are up 4-1. So Jeff, it was 3-1 in the first quarter, and then we only had 1 goal scored in that second quarter. I think you attributed it to a better Cyclone defense.
Absolutely. It was a question that I asked head coach Chris Frazier during our pregame. The last game we saw them against James Monroe, they were playing a zone defense.
Well, Jeff, just like that, Liberty lights it up. I'm going to pick up the scores number here in just a second. It was a pass from Tyler Dyson, and I believe it was number
8.
Number 8, yeah, John Russell. So how many seconds did that take Liberty to score here in the second? Was it 33?
33 seconds, and I was just talking about Eastern View's defense. The last time we saw them against JM, they were in a zone. Now they're in a man-to-man, and they were doing a much better job in the first half. In the man-to-man, they only gave up 4 goals. One of those goals in the second quarter to Corbin Barb. He has 2 goals. Nathan Villarreal has 1 goal, and Owen Rogers has the other goal for Liberty. Donovan Elliott has the lone goal for the Cyclones.
And Jeff, we were commenting on how clean that first half was. The game went very quickly. Only 1 penalty was assessed. That was against Liberty's Owen Rogers, who was in a releasable 1-minute penalty. His teammates killed the penalty clock, kept the Cyclones from scoring. 3-1 again at the end of the first quarter, 1 goal in that second quarter. And then as we start the third quarter, just about 30 seconds into it, Liberty makes it 5-1.
Still a very competitive game. I've been really impressed with Eastern View, how they're playing defensively. Matthew Greenfield's played amazing in goal, done a nice job of being able to deflect a lot of Liberty's shots. But one thing we talked about is that Eastern View is going to have to use their offense as their defense and really try to spread out, move the ball, control the clock, and hang on to possession against Liberty.
Connor Weeks working hard down there low, and eventually the Cyclones lose it. Let's see if Liberty can hold on to it. Ball loose once more, and the Cyclones come away with it to reset here on offense. And coming away with it was Joshua Haught on the run and taking a shot. Lasher got his stick on it, and then a rebounded shot. I believe that was taken by, was it number 8, Owen Butler?
That was Joshua Haught.
Oh, Joshua Haught.
Yeah, Haught had a nice rebound shot right there, but that one, again, that's the second shot of Haught's that has gone off the post and back out.
And Lasher, again, a save. You know, he's really got some quick reflexes there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. As we mentioned, he's given up only the 1 goal to Donovan Elliott. Lasher has stopped a lot of competitive Eastern View shots.
Well, you know, it seems like we've seen our share of really good goalies this year, haven't we? You got a good one in Matt Greenfield of Eastern View. You got Riker Simpson over at Culpeper. Lasher here of Liberty. Reese Horn of Orange comes to mind.
Fauquier had a really strong goalie. We saw JM with a good goalie. So yeah, there's been some nice goalie play here in the Northwestern region.
And it was JM's goalie who we thought, you know, was really strong from, you know, say with the chest up, and that may be suspect with the players went to the ground, but then he really sort of tweaked his game there against Eastern View and was able to turn back some shots that were taken that Eastern View had fired using low shots and bounce shots. And we don't have, yeah. Jeff, I think you were, oh, here we go. Both teams here trying to come away with it. And it's going to be Liberty's goalie, Lasher. Dumps it off to a teammate here near side, number 17, Austin Jacobs, Liberty. Jacobs being pressed. To look upfield for some help. And he'll find it. A fellow by the name of Corbin Barb. And now Liberty spreads it out. Tyler Dyson is number 12. Dyson on the move right now. Dyson goes to the left hand, fires a shot. This one wide.
When Liberty's able to get their speed working, Mark, that's really when you see them clicking on all cylinders. Right there, they did a really nice job of trying to get a left-handed shot off. That was Tyler Dyson with a different look. And that's what you've got to do against really good goalies. You've got to change your looks around. You got to go high, you got to go low, you got to go backhand, you got to go completely sidearm. So it's interesting to see Liberty make those adjustments.
Yes, it is. We mentioned that their goalie, Brennan Lasher's had a good game. Matt Greenfield has had a good game. Our score, however, 5-1 in favor of Liberty. And we are live tonight. Our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air. Action is slowed down a little for the moment as Eastern View try to uncork its offense. Jeff and I currently experience a little technical difficulty here. We'll try to adjust to it. Keep on keeping on as we're here in the third quarter. Eastern View threatening here as Connor Weeks trying to score. Well, Jeff, what are you seeing so far?
Well, the Cyclones still playing strong defense, doing a nice job with Liberty keeping the pressure on, and the Cyclones are going to have to get possession offensively and hang on to it a little bit. Coach Chris Frazier talked about trying to get the Cyclones some different sets, be able to get their offensive set up so they're able to cycle in some different players. They want Hott to get some shots off. They want Donovan Elliott. They want obviously Connor Weeks in that X position to control the tempo offensively.
Yeah, a moment ago, Rogers, the shot that Greenfield saved. And turn over to Eastern View now. This broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673. Coming back, taking a shot was number 15, Austin Keller, but Matt Greenfield was there for the stop.
Well, Mark, I love it when you see a defenseman taking shots, and Austin Keller, long stick defenseman, taking a nice shot, but man, again, Greenfield doing a great job of being able to watch that one in and make a big save.
Currently in that X area is Owen Rogers of Liberty. Gets it to a teammate on the perimeter. He uncorks one, but Greenfield there for another save for Eastern View. They'll come back this way if they can keep possession.
And Greenfield standing on his head here tonight, doing a great job. He's really got a great line of vision. He's able to see the shots coming in here tonight.
Liberty gets the ball back, making a move here. Coming into traffic, working his way loose. This was a no-look over-the-shoulder shot taken. You talk about mixing it up, Jeff. Didn't find pay dirt that time, but it was a nice try.
Yeah, that was a nice shot by Villarreal, and he also drew a penalty on that as there's a flag down here.
And then a follow-up shot. Looks like Liberty may have scored here, Jeff.
Waiting for the call. I know there's a penalty flag, so there was a delayed penalty. Waiting to see what the referees are going to say here, Mark.
Well, I don't see that there's a goal then. Well, so is this two players charged with slashing?
It looks like we've got a slash on Eastern View's number 17, Kaiser Abed. He's in the sin bin in the penalty box. No, so it's just on Abed. So it's going to be a power play opportunity for Liberty with 5:09 remaining here in the third quarter, Mark.
Getting it started, number 7, Taylor Schaefer for Liberty as they spread it out. Looking for an opening here. Tyler Dyson is number 12. Here is a shot and a score. Looks like number 8, isn't it? John Russell?
John Russell, his second goal here in the third quarter, making it 6-1 with 4:52 remaining in the third quarter.
Let's check the penalty and see if Eastern View's Kaiser Abed, yeah, releasable penalty, comes back onto the field. All right, well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Found & Sons, which is more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530. And also Cash Imprints, you know, from shirts to banners and everything in between. Imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473. Liberty coming back this way. 6-1 our score in favor of the Eagles. And so I'm going to look at your notes, Jeff, and when did Eastern View score? How long has it been for them?
So Eastern View scored first, Mark. They had a 1-0 lead. Donovan Elliott scored at the 10:08 mark of the first quarter, and they have not scored since.
And we're in the late here in the third quarter, so they're about due as Liberty takes another shot. Greenfield had no trouble turning this one back, but this may be is this going to be an own goal against Eastern View?
No, that was Greenfield made the initial stop, but then the rebound bounced and took a weird bounce as it was coming off of his stick and bounced back into the net. So that is a goal for Liberty, trying to pick up the number.
But would that be a goal for Liberty or an own goal against Eastern View if it came off his own stick?
Well, it was on the rebound, so it was off of a shot. I would imagine an own goal would be if one of the Cyclone players was trying to pass it back to get it cleared. Then I would count that as an own goal. But coming from a rebound off of a Liberty shot, I'm going to give that to Liberty, and I do believe that was number 12. That was
Tyler
Dyson that had that one.
And our score is
7-1.
Wow. So all of a sudden, it seems like Liberty has put some definite distance between them and Eastern View.
Well, it's been a 7-0 run for the Eagles. They've scored 3 goals here in the second half. They had 4 in the first half, so it's 7-1 now in favor of Liberty.
And Liberty's still pressing the attack here, weaving his way through traffic, trying to get a shot off, and then delayed is Taylor Schaefer, and they turned the ball over to Eastern View. Well, we're live tonight. Our live sponsor, Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. And Liberty scores again on the run and taking the shot. Probably unassisted one, Jeff. Did you pick up the number?
Number 7. That was Taylor Schaefer.
Taylor Schaefer. We just mentioned him a moment ago. So is Liberty just racing out in front of past Eastern View and putting so much distance between them that Eastern View is going to end up seeing some dust here?
Well, we talked about Liberty using their speed and their quick scoring ability, and now we're seeing it as they have put together 3 goals in the span of about a minute and minute 9, as we've seen John Russell score, Tyler Dyson score, and now Taylor Schaefer score.
Nathan Natale finally corrals it in possession for Eastern View. They got a long way to go here if they want to come back, and Natale runs into some traffic.
And we got a penalty coming because there was Villarreal came across the midfield as he was trying to forecheck on Nolan Natale, and he came across and the referee saw it immediately, and then Villarreal was like, well, I'm just going to keep on going. I've already drawn the penalty. I might as well come down and help out my teammates until we get possession. So now it's going to be a power play opportunity for the Cyclones.
As you pointed out, Nathan Villarreal, jersey number 1 of Liberty, goes into the penalty box. He joins his teammate there, Owen Rogers, who went there earlier in the game. And then we've had one play from Eastern View in the penalty box, and that was Abed, wasn't it?
That was Kaiser Abed. And there was a power play goal off of that penalty.
Right. Here's Eastern View with a chance now. Power play opportunity. Donovan Elliott currently in possession. Winding up, taking a shot, and making the save, Brennan Lasher. Jeff, it's hard to pick up some of those Eastern View numbers out there.
That was number 4. That was Davion Wilkerson with that shot. Lasher saw it coming in the whole way.
Well, he certainly has pitched nearly a perfect game, if you will, has Lasher. He's only good at 1 goal. And in the meantime, his teammate comes back. That's number 12, Tyler Dyson. Score once again for Liberty, and looks like the Eagles are having some fun out there right now.
And this is Dyson's second goal in the span of about 2 minutes, and that one he made happen with his legs as he was able to reverse field and cut up in the middle and then get kind of one-on-one against Matt Greenfield. And Eastern View's defense has just not as been dominating as they were in the first half.
2 minutes and 28 seconds to play here in the second quarter, and it's been all Liberty. You pointed out, Jeff, that Liberty's Donovan Elliott got the game's first goal.
Eastern View's Donovan Elliott had the first goal. He made it 1-0, and now it's been a 9-0 run for the Liberty Eagles.
And the Cyclones call a timeout to think about this one.
bottle of sunscreen up here at the window. Just come on out and,
how do they stem the tide and slow them down, Jeff? We talked about how Chris Frazier said, Liberty's going to run it. They're going to run some more. And we talked about maybe slowing them down some. They've played both zone and man-to-man tonight.
Been mostly man-to-man. I think Eastern View just needs to step it up, be a little more physical, especially on the forecheck, try to get the ball away from Owen Rogers. We've seen John Russell now, Corbin Barb earlier in the game. The end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, Barb was the offensive weapon. So the trouble is Liberty's just got a lot of guys that they can go to, and they've got a lot of speed. Eastern View just needs to step up, be a little more physical on the forecheck, and try to take possession away. And then once they have possession, the Cyclones are going to have to slow it down on their offensive end to hang on to the ball, set up their plays, and find a way to solve Lasher.
Well, and Lasher, he's only given up one goal here tonight. He's just been really reflexively very quick, good instincts, and he's really quite an asset for that Liberty team.
He's locked it down since that first goal by Donovan Elliott.
Yeah, pitched a shutout ever since, to use a baseball metaphor. And Jeff, feel free to use a hockey metaphor tonight. We know how you and John like your hockey.
I'm done with hockey for the season now. My Penguins were beat last night by the Rangers in overtime, 4-3. I'm done. Johnny's Capitals are out. I think it is that time of season when we're just done with hockey. My friend's team, the Hurricanes, the Carolina Hurricanes, are still going. I'll occasionally pop in, watch a Carolina Hurricanes game to help cheer on Allen's team, but I'm just not as invested as I was. And it's, for me, almost an end of a dynasty with the Penguins going out, because Malkin's an unrestricted free agent, Chris Letang's an unrestricted free agent, Sean Rodriguez is an unrestricted free agent. So they have a lot of decisions to make next year, the Penguins do, about who they're going to bring back and how they're going to try to build the team around Sidney Crosby, who I think still has a lot of power left in his legs.
Sounds like a really good analyst for the NHL, Jeff. Really certainly keep up with it. Here's Connor Weeks on the move. Here's a shot, and would you believe, another save by Brendan Lasher. He is just, like you said, played a phenomenal game. Liberty coming back with it. But I don't know about you, but I always found that if I was really a big fan of a sport through the years, if the team or the teams that I liked had been eliminated, I would usually still have enough interest to find a reason to like or dislike somebody else who remained in the the playoff situation.
I have a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, and being a Pittsburgh fan, usually once our teams are out, we're done. So usually when the baseball season starts, where you know the Pirates aren't going to do anything, so we're done.
I thought about you the other day. I guess it was Sunday, because I was going through the channels at home, and the USFL is playing right now. And Pittsburgh Maulers, they don't wear black and gold.
They don't, and
it was an odd-looking color combination.
So the USFL, they're playing all their games in Birmingham, Alabama. Am I correct on that?
I don't know where they're playing them, but it was the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Yeah.
I think, was it against the Generals, New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, they may have been. I think I stumbled across that on Sunday when I got home.
But I'm thinking about you, Jeff. I'm thinking, here's a team from Pittsburgh not wearing black and gold.
Yeah, we don't own them then.
Yeah, okay.
They're not a true Pittsburgh team. And I was watching the USFL the other night, and I think they were playing all their games in Birmingham, Alabama, and there was nobody in the stands. I mean, it was really sad.
Well, I don't know how they pay those salaries, but that's something I have to figure out, is it? All right. Is this quarter in the books?
We got 30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds, okay.
Goal, Liberty, number 12.
And Liberty adds another goal, this one by Tyler Dyson. His name has been at the forefront of our mentioning here tonight, no doubt about it. But Jeff, you mentioned that Liberty's, they've been able to spread it out and get different players in the mix. They can score quickly, and they certainly have some speed, and they tend to substitute on the fly in good transition. And with this Brendan Lasher in goal, they've just, ever since Elliott scored, I mean, it's been all really Liberty here tonight.
Until right there.
And right when I guess I jinxed Lasher, because he turned back every shot minus Elliott's until just now.
And it's Elliott again.
So Donovan Elliott, his second goal, and Eastern View's second goal as well.
That is correct, and that was a nice play by Elliott. He took the ball right off the face-off. Nolan Natale won that face-off, pushed it over to Donovan Elliott. Elliott comes down. Just about 7 seconds after that Dyson scored, Donovan Elliott scores for these Cyclones. So both of Eastern View's goals belong tonight to Donovan Elliott.
Yeah, we were talking about the USFL. I remember, back when it was first a thing, I think, it looked like, 82, 83, something like that. Eastern View back on the attack. This time Lasher is there for the save. Turned back a Eastern View scoring threat.
And there's a penalty on Liberty as Lasher makes that save again. And it looks like that's going to be number 20 coming to the penalty box. That's
Aiden Collins.
Aiden Collins. Yeah, the USFL originally started, what, 84?
No, it was a little bit earlier than
Was it?
that. I think it was like 82 or 3.
Okay.
And they brought back a lot of those same teams. I think, what is it, 6 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did they fold?
It wasn't, gosh, they're only, what was it, 2 or 3 years they were in business or something like that. And they had some players who went on to play in the NFL too. I mean, there's that siren to signal the end of the third quarter, Jeff, with our score.
10-2.
In favor of Liberty. So we'll take a break and come back to the fourth and final quarter right after this. Stay tuned.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.
Welcome back to our broadcast at the Cyclone Stadium here at Eastern View High School, where we are set to begin the fourth and most likely the final segment of this game, the regular season finale between the Liberty Eagles and Eastern View Cyclones. Mark O'Connell, Jeff Say, Johnny Krawchuk with you tonight from the stadium, and of course Nicole Wooten back in the studio of the Culper Media Network. We're proud to bring you all the exciting action of Cyclones Lacrosse here tonight, although most of the excitement has been on that Liberty side of things. It's 10-2 as we start this fourth quarter.
And Liberty led 4-1 coming into the second half, and then they went on a 6-0 run. John Russell had a pair of goals, made it 6-1. Tyler Dyson made it 7-1. Taylor Schaefer made it 8-1. Then Dyson with 2 more goals made it 10-1. Dyson has a hat trick here in the second half. And then Donovan Elliott, who had the only goal for the Cyclones at the 10:08 mark of the first quarter, scored with 23 seconds remaining to make it 10-2. And so Donovan Elliott has the only 2 goals for the Cyclones.
Jeff, as we start this fourth quarter, that penalty get carried over with Aiden Collins in the penalty box for Liberty, but now that time has expired. Liberty will go back to full strength as Donovan Elliott was trying to unwind the shot. This was broken up by the defender, ball loose. Brendan Lasher corrals it. Here's his outlet pass downfield, caught nicely by Owen Rogers. Eastern View substituting on the fly here, coming back to set up defensively. They need some stops and need some quick goals if they want to make this one a competitive game against Liberty here in this final quarter.
Well, Mark, you brought up a valid point earlier about how Liberty's made a lot of changes. They've rotated a lot of players in and out.
And this was a nicely conceived play where they got the ball to Nathan Villarreal, and he was in point-blank range, but either lost or a little bit of an errant shot got away from him. Liberty came back with it. So on that shot by Villarreal, Greenfield was not seriously threatened there. But you're making the point about what we were saying about Liberty's mixing it up and that sort of thing.
Well, Liberty's just been able to have the luxury of being able to rotate a lot of players in and out, so they're fresh. Eastern View has 14 players on their team. And you think when you have a face-off specialist like Nolan Natali, then that leaves you 4 other players on the bench that you can rotate out. So these Eastern View Cyclone players aren't getting the same amount of rest that Liberty is. And you can tell the difference that Liberty is fresh, and then they're able to get in a burst of speed off the bench because they have that luxury of a larger roster.
And they've had some action here against that Eastern View goal. They haven't come up with a goal here yet to show for in the fourth, but they're certainly pressing the action. And they continue to do so here with this shot. Greenfield able to make the stop, ball loose, Liberty keeps possession. But again, my point is, Jeff, here is Liberty just continuing to force the action here. And they're spreading it out, and they're going to be coming at Greenfield from different angles. Winding up and trying to take the shot was Owen Rogers, but the defender was able to get in front of that one. Liberty keeps it. On the move they are once more.
And man, you see the speed right there by number 12, Tyler Dyson, off his own shot. He comes back and races down, and he's able to mark up and get the ball back in possession for Liberty off his own shot. That is something impressive.
Is that the equivalent in basketball of a player taking a shot, following his miss, and getting the rebound and then being in position to do something again?
I would think this is more impressive.
Yeah. Liberty stays with it here on the wraparound, and this one looks like it beats Greenfield. Let's pick up the scorer's number here, Jeff.
That is John Russell again, number 8, with a wraparound goal coming around the net and be able to beat Greenfield to make it 11-2 in favor of the Liberty Eagles with 8:45 remaining in the game.
Well, we are live tonight, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-75-56. This broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints, from shirts to banners and everything in between. Imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. And here's substitutions for Liberty again, Jeff, and this is sort of supports what you were saying about the rotation of players and the fresh legs and the energy level still for Liberty.
Well, it makes a big difference when you have a lot of fresh players coming off the bench and their legs are able to pick up speed and they're able to rotate out. And we've seen them have a lot of different guys score. Eastern View has 14 players. They have 11 starters. So you've got guys that you've got to filter in and out. And I mentioned Nolan Natali as a face-off specialist. They have a younger team. You see Davion Wilkerson there on the sidelines. He's going to come in and help out, but that's a big disadvantage to have only 4 guys on the bench.
Ball stays on this end of the field, threatening that Eastern View goal. Liberty will get things going again on offense.
They maintain possession, Mark. That's the big thing to me. I mean, that was a shot, and yet the player fell. I think that was Russell, and the ball got trapped underneath him. They maintain possession.
Mm-hmm. Well, ball control, you've talked about it. On the run and taking a shot. Ball bounced out of that. I believe that was taken by Taylor Schaefer. But again, Liberty comes up with it, and Schaefer comes back with it. So Liberty continues to press the action here. Here in the fourth quarter at Cyclone Stadium, with 7:20 to play, fourth quarter.
Yep, and Liberty again pressing the attack. Number 2, Owen Rogers. We've called his name. We've called Nathan Villarreal. We've called Corbin Barb earlier in the game. John Russell, Tyler Dyson, Taylor Schaefer. So they have spread the scoring around here, the Eagles have.
Certainly have. This broadcast brought to you in part by Fountain Sons, which is more than a respected funeral home. They support youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Fountain Sons, 825-3530. Liberty back on the attack. Ball went to Eastern View. We have a whistle to stop play.
Liberty's going to get the ball back.
Looks like they'll begin with number 11, Mason Turner.
And that's a slashing penalty on Nolan Natale. So he's going to be in the penalty box, and it's going to be a power play opportunity for the Eagles.
Yeah, not that they need much help at this point, right?
And we've got a 9-goal lead, 11-2, with approximately 6:54 remaining, and they have dominated the second half. It was only 4-1 coming into the second half, and the Eagles have gone on a 7-1 run.
Still forcing the action. Matt Greenfield came away with it. The ball became loose. They go upfield to Donovan Elliott. Elliott unable to track it down, at least for the moment. Alley does. We'll draw some quick company. Liberty will come away with it.
Mason Turner, number 11, winning that ground ball.
Losing his footing, the Eastern View player, which gives the ball back to Liberty. Trying to set up a scoring opportunity as the ball is loose once more. And we're back to calling Mason Turner's name again.
And the Cyclones are back to full strength, so they killed off that penalty, but man, the offense is still going for Liberty. They're doing a great job of keeping it down in that offensive zone, and eventually they're going to wear down Matt Greenfield.
Jeff, I just saw an instance there where it makes a strong case for everybody wearing helmets with face masks, because that ball, when it was shot, was obviously intended for the goal, but it was so wide of the mark that it came very close to a defender's face, and you're thinking, as hard as that ball is, as fast as it's going, you got to be happy you're wearing a helmet and got a face guard on.
Yep. You see a lot of that, especially hockey season. I was going to mention, talking of hockey, I got to watch a little bit of youth hockey yesterday. I was up in Pittsburgh for my one nephew's wedding, and then my younger nephew, my sister-in-law's son, he plays for the Baby Pens. And they were playing at the Little Muse Center, and we got to watch the North Pittsburgh team play a little bit. It was fun, and one of his teammates is Brett Kiesel's son.
And I should know that name.
He played for the Steelers. He's the guy with the really shaggy beard.
Oh, okay. Lineman?
Yes.
Brett Kiesel. Okay, that name comes to mind. I was just thinking about hockey, and then really, maybe I'm taking a little chance with this, but Liberty back on the attack here. But thinking about hockey, anyone, say anyone born in the 70s or more recently, probably have a hard time wrapping their head around the concept that there was a time when players played without helmets.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, I came in the tail end of that, and I remember Gordie Howe a little bit.
Well, I was thinking of him because I like the Red Wings, but coming up, I was born in 57, so I started watching, say, 63, 64. But all those guys that played back then, if you saw a guy wearing a helmet, he stood out as, hey, that guy's wearing a helmet.
And go back and watch Slapshot. You don't see guys wearing helmets. Paul Newman.
But you know what? You also saw hockey players missing front teeth.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But those guys, oh my gosh, tough as nails they were. But you mentioned Gordie Howe, one of the greats of all time, that Red Wings team, and just a different time, Jeff. I mean, all the games have changed over time with the equipment and the rules and that sort of thing.
Well, the DH is in the National League in baseball.
Yeah.
The traditionalist in me is just heartbroken at that. But you're right. I mean, the game of football is totally different than it was in the mid to late 80s when I was growing up. They really popularized the big hits then and defense, and now it is a wide open offensive league.
Well, lots of times the rules changed because they realized that fans want to see offense. You know, and they brought the DH into the American League. I think it was 1974.
Yep.
I didn't like it. It took the pitcher out of the rotation in batting, and it took away some of that strategy because there have been pitchers at crucial times that delivered for their teams hitting the ball.
Right, and it takes away the strategy in terms of when to pinch hit, when to do a double switch. Now you just have a guy who can mash, and he's going to be, the guy there batting where you might have some strategy. I always like the differentiation between the American League, though, and the National League, because the American League was the offensive league. The National League, that was your cerebral league. That was where you had those strategic plays. I liked having that correlation and be able to have those two different leagues. Now it's just the same.
Yeah, right. That is true. Jeff, when I was a baseball fan, I was always an American leaguer, and I even remember before the DH rule that Dave McNally of the Baltimore Orioles, a pitcher, hit a grand slam in the World Series one year.
Well, look back to Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a pitcher and also probably the most feared batter in the league.
Yeah. Well, Liberty continues, Jeff, to just sort of stretch the offense and stretch the Eastern View defense and certainly keep Matt Greenfield busy in goal tonight. I know that Liberty has got 11 goals, but it doesn't mean Greenfield's had a bad game.
No, Greenfield's played really well, and I thought Eastern View's defense, especially in the first half, really stepped it up. They only gave up 4 goals in the first half. I thought they played that man-to-man really well. Eventually, it just became attrition that Liberty was able to have some fresh legs, run a little bit more, and they were open up some lanes for passing and be able to take some key shots.
Another shot taken, and another stop by Greenfield and company as Eastern View comes away with it. Let's check the clock, Jeff. We're winding down here late to the fourth quarter. We got 2:40 to play.
2:43 on the clock, and now in favor of the Cyclones.
So, if you're wondering why, here's a penalty flag coming in late in this fourth quarter. And we were talking about how quickly the game has gone by and really few flags thrown. This one will be against Liberty eventually.
And Connor Weeks going to set up the offense, and that's something that Chris Frazier talked about, was they run these offensive sets. They know what looks they're trying to find and how to exploit them. So they've just got to get everybody in that right position, and that's up to Connor Weeks to be the quarterback.
And Connor Weeks did a nice job of slipping through the double team, went to the left hand, got through it, kept possession, got a shot off, but it was wide, and his teammate has run it down to restart things here. But it's so late in the game that I think if you're Eastern View, you want to put together a couple of offensive plays where you gain a little bit more confidence. Again, this is the last game of the regular season. I mean, they're probably going to start the playoffs on Thursday, which is 2 days from now, and it's single elimination. So, regular season obviously winding down for Eastern View, and they're going to have a tough draw in that first round.
Yeah, I mean, the Northwest District is just stacked. And we've talked about Brentsville. We've talked about Fauquier. We've mentioned Meridian. We've mentioned Meridian. Obviously, Liberty here tonight. We see what they bring to the field. We've seen JM. We've seen Orange.
We haven't seen Kettle Run.
We have not seen Kettle Run this year.
Right. But you got to figure that, as the expression goes, they're no slouch at Kettle Run.
Right. I mean, none of those Fauquier teams are bad. I mean, they've got such a feeder system in Fauquier that they do a really good job of being able to feed all of those teams. I remember a few years ago when Kettle Run opened, and I remember Liberty being upset because it took away a lot of their starters. But now look, Liberty has recovered, and Kettle Run, is kind of, I guess you could say, is the number 3 team in the district in Fauquier, has really built a very nice roster. They've always had a traditionally strong team, but this year they're the best team in the region.
Could very well be. Well, just a moment ago, Brennan Lasher of Liberty makes yet another save for Liberty, and he's had a huge game here tonight for the Eagles, as we've only given up 2 goals by Eastern View.
And less than a minute now remaining on the clock, and Liberty just looking to move the ball around and eat up some time.
And it looks like they've scored again.
Corbin Barb, that is a hat trick for Barb. He had 2 in the first half, and now he has a goal here with 47 seconds remaining
Number 5.
in the game.
Well, this broadcast, what's left of it, brought to you in part by Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, the keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. 547-3673. We mentioned that we're live tonight. Our live sponsor, Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Well, Jeff, it's been kind of a long night for the Cyclones, hasn't it?
Yeah, the Cyclones have done some good things, though. And they've defensively, I thought in the first half, they only gave up 4 goals, and Matthew Greenfield has been strong here tonight. Nolan Natali has done well on the faceoffs. We've really seen him grow this season. Connor Weeks has done a good job in that X position, setting up some plays. Donovan Elliott with 2 goals here tonight for the Cyclones. They just haven't been able to get the younger guys involved and be able to get Hott involved. And they mentioned Austin Tingler wanted to get the ball down low to them to try to make something happen. And they just haven't been able to execute on those plays here. But nice physicality right there. That is going to get a penalty.
Yeah. We're going to draw the penalty for certain. Well, we've talked about this being the last game of the regular season for both Liberty and Eastern View. What about Culpeper? Do you recall what they have left on their schedule?
I think Culpeper's got a game tomorrow night against Kettle Run.
Kettle Run, right.
And then that is the end of their regular season. And as you mentioned, I do believe the playoffs are slated to begin on Thursday, weather permitting.
Yeah, there's not much delay in between the last game of the regular season and the first game of the postseason. They keep it rolling right along.
And they're saying there's going to be some rain on Wednesday. I don't know how that will impact fields. I know that the Culpeper County Parks and Rec had closed fields today for the rec leagues, and we had a busy weekend here on the soccer fields and the rugby fields. The Culpeper Soccer Association was playing. Culpeper Youth Rugby hosted a state tournament. There was thousands of people here at the fields at the sports complex this past weekend, and I know that was something that they were very proud of. Andrew Hardy and the Parks and Rec have done a nice job with putting in the lights. That is something that we have been really excited to see for our Parks and Rec, that we have lights here now at the sports complex. The field house is coming along. So some real exciting things happening with recreation in Culpeper County, Mark.
Well, it certainly has come a tremendously long way since the time when I first moved to the area way back in 1988, Jeff say. Well, we have a final score here at Cyclone Stadium with the Eagles of Liberty winning 12-2. And you've been assessing and analyzing it throughout the game for the benefit of our viewing audience. Any final thoughts, Jeff, before we go here tonight?
Well, I suppose if I had my final say, no pun intended, that Cyclones did a nice job defensively. They switched to the man-to-man in this game, and after the zone that didn't work out against JM, and they held Liberty to 4 goals in the first half, and then Liberty's sheer numbers just became too overwhelming, and they quickly put together some scoring opportunities, went up 10-2 in the third quarter, added a couple of goals in the fourth quarter, and Liberty, you can tell why they're the number 4 seed. They can play very quick. They've got good ball possession, and Lasher was just amazing in goal.
He really was, and as you pointed out, Liberty among the 3 schools in Fauquier County, all 3 of those schools are good, and the neighboring Brentsville district is very good. So it's going to be a good playoff run for a lot of teams. I'm not sure where Eastern View and Culpeper will figure in the mix, but they're going to have to play on the road to start the postseason. That is both teams. Well, once again, our final score from Cyclone Stadium tonight in this regular season finale is the Liberty Eagles 12, the Cyclones 2. And I'm not sure where we'll be next. That's going to be determined. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. We appreciate Nicole Wooten back in the studio, Johnny Krawchuk behind the camera, and for Jeff Say, I'm Mark O'Connell saying thanks for watching and supporting Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community sponsors.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. Battlefield Automotive, featuring Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints, 317-1473. More than just a respected funeral home, Found & Sons supports youth at all levels so they can become tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons, 825-3530.